According to Leonardo da Vinci, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And it's one of the things that I love about the original USS Enterprise and the inside of the Enterprise is that there was nothing complicated about it really. It was very simple, very open, very spacious, and very welcoming. So this is the beginning of another quick build. So this is going to be a test portion of one of the corridors in the secondary hull. So there's no curving corridors here. So this is the beginning of it. It's just a simple piece of card, and there's the floor. Okay, so I'm just putting the finishing touches to these wall panels here, and you can see that really gorgeous TOS corridor wall panel, very familiar. Doorways. I was going to do these doorways red, but I did a bit of research, and most of these doors in the regular corridors are not. They're not red. It's usually the turbo lift elevator doors that are red. Most of these, like crew quarter doors, are just the same colour as the panels on the walls. One or two of them are yellow sometimes, and I'm presuming that's to do with that indicates some kind of like storage room or something that isn't crew quarters. But generally, the crew quarter doors are the same colour as the panelling. Okay, and there we have that lovely marcation of red across the top. So what I'm going to do now, there's the other side of the corridor. This is a bigger opening here because this I'm going to make a small alcove with the familiar yellow ladder leading up to the next deck. This part of the corridor would be somewhere in the secondary hull. It's a straight corridor. Of course it could be in the saucer section because they had straight corridors there as well, coming off the curving corridors. But this is just, my idea is that this is just a kind of a portion of corridor in the secondary hull, maybe deck 17, deck 21, something like that. So I'm just going to stick the other side down now and put the alcove on that other side with the ladder leading up to the next deck, and then I'm going to put the familiar bar across the top, and also maybe some of the floor the floor panels that we also saw on the original ship. Both sides of the corridor in place now, and working on the familiar angled junction panel here, and then this piece here, which is just a blue paper stuck down on the grey paper, and then all of that will be cut out and laid onto here, and then the whole thing will be stuck on the junction corridor. This blue colour here, it should actually be dark grey, but I'm playing with the idea of having different colour markings indicating that that this is in the secondary hull of the ship. Here's the finished model. I'm just going to state at the moment that my idea is that this is somewhere down on deck 18 in the secondary hull, which is crew quarters. But this particular model, it's not, I've just built it. Basically my main reason for building this was to get a feel for 1/25th scale of this model, because that's what I want to build the entire ship in. As you know, I want to, from the bridge down to deck 24, I want to build this physical model in 1/25th scale, because it's kind of, it's big enough to get some good detail in. Because if it's any smaller than that, I don't feel as though I don't feel as though I can give justice to the models. So 1/25th scale. If it goes any bigger than that, the ship is just going to be huge. I mean, it's going to be huge now. So there are a few parts of this model that are not quite finished, like up here on these overhead panels. There should be kind of pipe wiring underneath those. But yeah, I kind of left that out really for now. It's just a general guide. So there's our crew member. She's 1/25th scale as well. Stood outside her quarters, and if you can notice right at the bottom, I'm going to show that in a minute in more detail anyway, but right at the end of the corridor there's another crew member stood against a railing, and just beyond that is a window. So this is one of the windows in the secondary hull. There you can see the familiar access ladder leading up to the next deck. Yep. So I'm just going to pull out and then just show you the model from above so you can get a feel for the build. So there it is. Oh, it's just beautiful, isn't it? I mean, I'm sorry, but the design of the inside of this ship, even though it was done in the 60s, it just hasn't been matched. I mean, all the other stuff, I'm sorry, I've got to say this, all the other stuff that's come after looks like the inside of a claustrophobic submarine, and it's all trying too hard. You know, like, it's just trying too hard. There's just too many elements in it. This is just simple. It's like clean, it's open, it's welcoming, it's human. You know, if I was travelling somewhere out into the outer reaches of the galaxy, in deep dark space, I'd want to be on board this. I wouldn't want to be in some submarine environment for 5 years. Anyway, turning into a rant. As it could easily do, I could rant on for hours and hours. Anyway, so just pulling up from the model. And again, I have nothing against computer generated models. I think it's fantastic. There's some awesome work going on out there that I'm actually using for reference for this build, but for me the physical model just has soul. I can feel it. It's like Captain Kirk says in, I can't remember what episode it is, you can feel her bones. The ship, she's yours. She, you know, all that kind of William Shatner stuff. But yeah, I mean, with a physical model, I can really feel it. I can touch it. I can play with it. I can go in it if I want. So anyway, we're coming to the end of the corridor here, and here you can see our other crew member, and this is my take on the design actually. The window here, quite a nice big window, and I feel that there would definitely be some kind of handrail near a window if you were just stood there and you wanted to look out. There would be some kind of handrail there to look out at the planetary orbit or the stars whizzing by at warp factor, whatever. I also feel as though I've got this idea that this handrail, in reality, if the ship was real, I think this handrail would be all over the corridors. You know, just in case the ship gets hit or there's a bit of space turbulence or whatever. It would definitely be a design element where the crew could grab hold of something instead of bouncing off the walls like they do in the TV series. But when I do this build, I'm not going to do that in the corridors because, like I say, I want to keep faithful to what we saw on the show. But I am going to take small liberties like this of putting this beautiful, familiar bridge-style handrail at the windows, and you know, maybe various other points on the ship as well. So that's this build. And actually, this model is actually a little bit technically inaccurate. if it was indeed deck 18 of the crew quarters, because you can see the angle of the window here. This would be further down the secondary hull with that angle. So deck 18, the sidewall here would be flat because it's halfway down. So this angle indicates that it's actually further down, maybe deck 20, deck 21 as the secondary hull is beginning to curve inwards. So little mistake there on my part, but like I say, it was just basically a feel for how big this model is actually going to be. So if this was deck 18 crew quarters, what we see here is a corridor going across, and if it was deck 18, this corridor would be twice as long, with access way going down this way and an access way going down this way, heading down towards the shuttle bay, the hangar deck here, and then coming this way would be moving towards the front of the secondary hull, like that. So just to give you the bearings on that. If I pull even further back, just imagine that corridor twice as long, and therefore just imagine how long this deck would be as a physical model. So like I say, it's going to be huge. It's just going to be a big model, and like you know, when it gets to the saucer section, big model. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm enjoying every second of this. The only thing that I'm not enjoying is I get really impatient and really frustrated, because I know what it is that I'm trying to create, and I know what it is that I'm trying to build, and it takes a while. It does take a while. So I just get a bit frustrated and impatient sometimes, but I'm always delighted with the result. I mean, look at that. Interior Starship Enterprise, just beautiful, never been matched. Okay, I'm just going to do a little experiment now. I'm going to try to put a moving starfield on the outside of that window at the end of this corridor, just to see if we can get a real feel of what it would be like to be stood on this deck while the ship is moving forwards at warp speed. Look at this. Okay, we're on deck 18 in the corridor with access to the crew quarters, and right at the end of the corridor there we can see one of the windows, crew member looking out, and we're travelling at about warp 3. I mean, just imagine that. Just imagine coming out of your quarters in the morning and looking out the window and seeing that. Wow. Okay, so that concludes this video, this build. Thanks for watching. As always, subscribe, give the video a like, and maybe even share it. Okay, see you soon in the next video.